Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica and today I will be doing my makeup inventory finale for the year. And I guess it's not really finale. I like to do these kinds of things like every 6 months. It used to be every quarter, but now that I'm on a no-buy, there's nothing new coming in, so it's much slower getting things out than in, so I feel like 6 months is a good check. And at the end of the year, I like to compare my numbers to the previous year, or the closest to January or December. So this year, I filmed my makeup inventory in January, so I'll be comparing my numbers to those ones instead of June or July. I don't remember at this point. I think that comparing these numbers to a year ago is really eye-opening because I was quite surprised at my numbers, so I'm just gonna get started. For face primers, I previously had one in January, but now I don't have any. I'm pretty happy with this because I don't wear foundation and I used to use primer to fill in my pores and mattify my skin, but I have a sunscreen that does that just fine. There's no need for me to go out and purchase a primer because I have a sunscreen that does all those things. Moving on to eye primers, I previously had 2 in January and now I just have 1. I don't know if you guys remember this or if you're new here. I did get COVID in January, but I was almost done with my eye primer anyways, so I decided to just toss it because I was almost done and it was over the suggested expiration date anyways. Other primer that was in the photo from January is the same primer. Moving on to powders, I previously had 5 in January and now I have 3. I believe I actually used up 2 of them and then got rid of 1 because I really didn't like it. This year has been the year where I found out that I do have a preference for powders. I hate when it looks really powdery. I don't know why it looked so powdery on me. I just could not get it to work and it felt like really gross on my skin too. And then I did actually get a sunscreen powder. I don't know if this counts as makeup because my intention for using it is not as makeup, it's to use it as sunscreen. So either way, it's in this collection and I partially also got it because we're trying to use it for SFSA before the end of the year. But it would be interesting to compare that to the Supergoop sunscreen powder, which I didn't really like. It just felt like the applicator was kind of hard to use. Moving on to bronzers, I previously had 6 in January. Hi, this is actually Erica from the future. I got a bronzer for Christmas, so I actually have 7 bronzers, not 6. Hopefully there's more use on some of them. I think I actually hit pan in one of them, so yay. I was thinking about potentially refreshing my collection next year. Or I was thinking that earlier this year, but I pretty much set on doing another no-buy next year. I don't think there's any bronzer that I could buy to like refresh my collection. Like I have a bronzer for the summer, a bronzer for when I'm more fair toned, or when I'm more fair, and I mean that's all you really need, right? Like there's no point in buying a new one because it would just be a backup. Moving on to blush, in January I had 15 and I actually had 25 before this, but then I think I decluttered a lot on January 1st. I still remember, to my friend's little sister. And I currently have 13 blushes. I used up 2 blushes completely. I did not declutter any blushes this year, although I really wanted to. I felt like I wanted to declutter some of them, but I'm going to hold on to them for at least another year and then see. But basically I have blushes that are too pigmented for my liking, so I'm just hoping that if I hold on to it for another year, it will become less pigmented and easier to work with. But I think if I have anyone that I know who wants them, I'm probably just going to give them away right away. Moving on to highlighters, in January I had 11 and I currently have 9. I decluttered at least one of them. I don't know where the other one went. Like, did I miscount or something? I'm probably going to put in the captions because I didn't look too closely when I was getting my numbers, so I'll have to go back and see where the other highlighter went. Moving on to foundations, I previously had one in January, but I was working on it earlier this year until I got super sick of it and it was almost done. I decided to just give up. So now I have none, and I am, at least for the next year, not buying a foundation. I don't like foundation because it is so like hard for me to get it to look good on me. So I'm just like, why bother? Like, your natural skin will always look better even if it's greasy. But with foundation, you will have greasy skin and it will look cakey, and like on me it like kind of gets patchy, which is so gross. And I also paid for it, so it's like, well, it's free to look oily and not patchy. Moving on to setting sprays. In January I had 3 in the photo. I actually had 4. I found the other one on the floor. And then in December I currently have 3. So I used up one of them. It was just a mini, but I have 2 more, and no, sorry, I have 3 more. I have one that's, I can't tell how much I have left in it because I don't really like using it. The nozzle is absolute garbage, and so it gets very messy, and the writing has rubbed off completely from it because it is a sunscreen setting spray, and it's a little bit more, it feels like it's oil based inside, but I do like it, but the sprayer is absolute garbage. So I don't think I would repurchase it again, unfortunately. But if they fixed it, I would. But yeah, I want to get that one out of my collection next year. I don't remember if I put it in my planning to pan. I don't think I did. Moving on to brows. In January, I had 7 products, which doesn't make sense to me, but I guess I did. And then now I have 4. So I actually did pan something that I was planning to pan next year unintentionally, because I'm so used to brow pencils that you have to sharpen, and those take forever to go through. But with the brow pencil, like the micro brow pencil that you twist up, that was such a bad hand movement, but for the brow pencils that you twist up yourself, those ones go so fast. They're much thinner, there's less product, so I might even finish this other one before the end of the year. Moving on to mascaras. In January I had 3, and I currently have 2. And this sounds a little gross, but I still have the same one I should throw away at the end of the year, but I kind of don't want to because I barely used it and there's still product in it. So I'm going to hold on to it even though it's been 6 months. This specific mascara does not have a lot of product in it. I hadn't really been using it throughout the year, but recently I have, and I really like it. I'm not wearing it today, but yeah. My main gripe with it at first was that it was too wet and it would get on the top of my lids and smudge it, but now that it's much more dry, it actually stays on my lashes and gives it a little something. Moving on to eyeliners. I had 8 in January and I don't know where they went. I know that I'm decluttering 3 of them because I don't use it. 2 of them are quite old, and then the other one I just never used, so I'm going to give it to my mother. And the other one I was debating decluttering. I decided not to declutter. It's a black eyeliner, and it's actually come in pretty handy for doing like more dimensional lips. And also sometimes I like to draw a thicker band of eyeliner over my eye, and using a liquid liner for that is not ideal because if you mess up it's very obvious. I'm not wearing it today, but I think I'm going to keep it because I found use for it, and I don't want to declutter and then regret it and then buy it again. Moving on to lipsticks. This number went up. In January I had 11 and now I have 12. So if you look really closely, you'll notice that 2 of the lipsticks are different. So when was it? I think a month or 2 ago, my coworker and I swapped lipsticks. So I swapped her one of my handmade lipsticks that I had originally actually intended on giving to her, but I thought it was too late by the time I saw her to give it to her. But we ended up swapping at work, and she gave me like a miniature Valentino, I think was the brand, lipstick in exchange for the handmade one. And then I have a miniature Clinique Almost lipstick in Black Honey. I found a Christmas present from last year that I forgot to open, and it was a Clinique set with a mascara, the Black Honey, and some of the skincare. The mascara I know I can never use, so I'm going to donate it. I need to use like Asian mascara or I will have panda eyes. Moving on to lip glosses. In January I had 9 and now This is Erica from the future again. I currently have 11 lip glosses actually, so I went up because I got 4 for Christmas. This will be the last time you'll be hearing future Erica, but I guess I should explain a little bit on why I got makeup for Christmas. What had happened was our brother's girlfriend received someone else's Sephora order and decided to pass the products on to me after Sephora told her she could keep it. So she kept some and I got some. Can't believe it took that long to use them actually. But I think it's because I was using other lip glosses as well. That is actually quite eye-opening because I love lip gloss and I want more. But I already have all the colors I could need. Moving on to eyeshadows. I have it broken down by singles, quads, and palettes. So for singles, in January I had 14. I did do a declutter earlier this year and now I have 5. It was really hard getting rid of my eyeshadow singles, but I don't miss them. Moving on to eyeshadow quads, in January I had 3 and I still have the same 3. I call these quads because they aren't actually, none of them have 4 like pans of eyeshadow in them. It's either 3 or 6. But I call them quads because they're smaller, and if I put them in the same photo as like my bigger palettes, they get lost. So that's why I put them in their own category. Moving on to eyeshadow palettes. In January I had 13 palettes and I did do a declutter earlier this year, which was mostly eyeshadow palettes. And now I have 6 eyeshadow palettes, which is really nice actually. I don't miss my other palettes at all. In fact, I don't really remember what I had. I did debate buying new eyeshadow next year because my eyeshadows are getting a little bit older. I did a low buy I did a low buy for 2 years before this no buy. So I think my newest eyeshadow is from June of last year, so it's already been like a year and a half. But eyeshadows last a long time. I don't really need anything new. I think if they all went bad, that would be a different story, but I'm going to keep using them as long as I can and probably not buy anything because it's all the same. Like, I prefer more natural makeup, even though I'm wearing gold and red today. My total in January, excluding palettes, was 82. I don't know what it is now. Let me count. It's 64 now. Wow, that is... Wait, no way. 64? That's 18 less. I didn't know I had that little. It doesn't feel like it's little, in my opinion. I feel like I still have plenty of makeup. I'm really grateful for what I have. I'm really grateful for what I have right now, more so than when I had a bigger collection, because I spent this past month playing with the makeup that I had, or have, and getting to really know it before the new year, because most of the year I spend it project panning, and I feel like December is the only time of the year where I allow myself to just pick whatever, play with whatever. I've been rediscovering old favorites and realizing why they're my favorites. That's everything for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in 6 months. Bye!